Is he better than David Nugent and Billy Sharp? Yes, he is.
Hmm.
So yes, he is. He is.
There is honestly a remarkable list of records he's broken in the Championship this season, and he's still got 17 games to go.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it I've ever seen before.
Swansea carry on losing games, and the fans might start to turn, which we've seen with Ira and Ishmael. It's very hard to recover from.
The thing is, they've got some tricky games coming up. Their next 5 games are absolutely brutal, so they need to sort it out sooner rather than later.
I'm going to throw my favourite keeper in the league. I'm going to go Lee Nichols. He is.
You love Lee Nichols.
Travis can hide behind Gary Cahill, but Tom Lees or Gary Cahill. No disrespect to Tom Lees, by the way.
What is the Championship's biggest WTF moment ever? The Championship has always had some wild moments, hasn't it? What's the one moment that stands out for you?
But Jan Kermigan decides the vital penalty. He tries a Panenka, Ryan. He tries a Panenka, and he doesn't pull it off.
Not even a good Panenka. Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the Stopwatch, the Championship show. A little twist, 5 topics, 2-minute timer, 2 hosts, Ryan and Justin from the Second-Tier podcast. Let's get right into it, Justin. The first question I'm going to ask you is this. Is Alexander Mitrovic the best Championship striker in Championship history? 30 goals for the season now after scoring 2 in midweek. What are you saying?
Is he better than David Nugent and Billy Sharp? Yes, he is. So yes, he is. He is the greatest striker in Championship history. I think if you consider Billy Sharp's and David Nugent's longevity in the league and their goal records, Mitrovic, if he had the same time, he'd double their goals. He'd double the amount they've scored in the Championship. It's quite scary how good he is. He's got the whole package. He's physical. He's a finisher. He can hold the ball up. He can play deep. There's just nothing else to say about Alexander Mitrovic other than wow, what a player.
Yeah, you could talk about him being the best striker the Championship has ever seen just from his goals alone, but you're quite right. The other things he adds to Fulham's attack just makes him the all-round package. I mean, the records he's broken this season, Justin, he's going to break the record for the most goals scored in the Championship. He's going to, in my eyes, break Guy Whittingham's past record of the most goals scored at second-tier level in a modern era. He's got the most hat-tricks in the Championship since it became the Championship. He scored more goals than 5 teams in the division this season. There is honestly a remarkable list of records he's broken in the Championship this season, and he's still got 17 games to go.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it I've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think that the fact that he's played in 3 different Fulham sides, under Jokanovic, under Parker, he scored a lot of goals under a very boring Parker side. And then this one under Silva, it's brilliant. It's fantastic. He's the best the Championship has ever seen. That's flatly.
It. You could make an argument from this season alone that he's the best one the Championship has seen, but the fact that he's got an unbelievable record from his past seasons as well makes it difficult to argue at this point. So without a doubt, he's the best one for the two of us, isn't he? Justin, what's next topic?
3 losses in their last 5 games and only 1 win in that period. What's behind Blackburn's wobble?
It's hard to argue that they've just not been very clinical in front of goal, which is something that you haven't really been able to hold against this Blackburn team this season. The one thing, if you look at the underlying data, their finishing in front of goal has been superb throughout the season. Brereton-Diaz has been so deadly in front of goal. Of course, he's missed a couple of games recently because of international duty, but he's back in the team now. Maybe he'll get him better over time, but we saw midweek they should have scored at least a couple, but here we are, and we're talking about Blackburn misses chances again, Justin.
Yeah, it's frustrating. That is one thing that is holding him back. I think the other aspect as well is everything came at the same time in terms of Ben Brereton-Diaz's international duty, the speculation regarding Joe Rothwell's future and the bid from Bournemouth. It's not going to have a detrimental effect on the team, but it's not going to be helpful either. But I think the positive you've got to take is they are still creating chances. They haven't stopped doing that. It's just a case of putting them in the back of the net at the right time, and those chances come at key times. If they score before Forest, Blackburn might win the game in midweek, for example. So it's just key times and keeping concentration levels up. But I think they will return to the Blackburn we saw earlier on in the season, definitely.
They have been given away a few more chances than they had done previously. Before this remarkable run they went on, they weren't the most solid defensively before lining up numerous clean sheets in a row. And they seem to have maybe started to slide back into what they were before. And also worth remembering that time, they were essentially a top half championship side as opposed to a promotion chasing side as well. So maybe they're just heading back into that mold. The thing is, they've got some tricky games coming up. Their next 5 games are absolutely brutal. So they need to sort it out sooner rather than later. Justin, speaking of one team not in the best of form, going to another team not in the best of form, Swansea. Is the pressure on Russell Martin at the moment?
I think that the pressure is on Russell Martin. I don't think there's any danger of him getting sacked. But for example, if Swansea carry on losing games, and the fans might start to turn, which we've seen with Vieira and Ishmael, it's very hard to recover from that. So I think that there is pressure on Russell Martin, but perhaps not the pressure of losing his job. I think there's a lot of issues they're going through this season. This season was always going to be a transition season for Swansea. They hit the peak just before Christmas in terms of position in the table. They've dropped off massively, but at the same time they have encountered a few injury problems. But yeah, I think that the pressure is on, but I don't think he will be in any danger of getting sacked soon.
I would be astonished if they did actually sack him. But of course, the pressure is going to be on when you're playing as poorly as Swansea are right now, which is very poor. Then the pressure is always going to be on. He's quite fortunate that they've got enough of a cushion not to be dragged into a relegation battle at this point. I think we can all agree on that. It's just playing players in positions that they shouldn't be playing, players who probably don't deserve to be playing. The likes of Corey Smith, for example, hasn't really impressed me at all this season, but Russell Martin keeps sticking with him. It's all a transition process, isn't it? It's going to be a building process, and it's going to take time for him to get the proper tune out of the Swans team. But the way things are going right now, it's a bit of a rocky transition, to say the very least, isn't it, Justin?
Yeah, it is. But we've seen what they're capable of earlier on in the season, and I don't think they're incapable of getting to that position again. So it's a case of getting personnel back in the team, and ensuring that they do what they're good at, which is keeping the ball away from opposition, keeping clean sheets, and building from there. Because we've seen the little gold dust that Patterson and Pirro bring to a team, and it's just a case of recovering that again, which I don't think is too far away.
Spot on. What's next topic?
Some keepers in good form in midweek, Ryan. So who are you tipping to win Golden Glove?
There's been a brilliant standard of goalkeepers in the Championship this season. There really has. I can't think of many seasons past where there have been such a good standard of Championship keepers. The one who has stood out for me across the course of the season is Mark Travers. You may very easily point the finger at him and say, right, he's playing behind a Bournemouth defence, which has been, for the vast majority of the season, solid enough. But at the same time, he has had to make some brilliant stops and has won his team points individually. I think statistically, he is one of, if not the best keepers in the division. And for such a young lad as well, you've got to remember this guy wasn't really getting much of a look in at Bournemouth prior to the season before when they had Asmir Begovic instead. But Stopwatch has given him a chance now. He's fully repaid his faith.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to throw my favourite keeper in the league. I'm going to go Lee Nichols. He is...
You love Lee Nichols.
I do. I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. Free transfer from MK Dons as well. He was second choice at MK Dons last season for a spell as well. He's a brilliant goalkeeper and started behind Ryan Schofield in goal. And since he's come into the side, Huddersfield have looked so much better. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's a very good shot stopper. We talk about goalkeepers winning points for the team. Lee Nichols is a definition of goalkeeper who wins points for his team. And I think if you consider that Huddersfield statistically face more shots than Bournemouth do, obviously, Travis can hide behind Gary Cahill, but Tom Lees or Gary Cahill. No disrespect to Tom Lees, by the way. But yeah, it's a fantastic. He's been in fantastic form this season, Lee Nichols, and I think he's in with a shout of goalkeeper of the year if he wins Golden Glove. No doubt about that. And they've taken Levi Colwell out of the side as well, and they're still keeping clean sheets.
Pretty impressive as well, considering they signed him from MK Dons, and I don't think it was first choice at MK Dons by the time he left, and now he's made the step up to Championship level and has just been incredible. Finally, Justin, favourite part of the show, this. I love doing this every single week. It's the second tier retro, and the question is this week: what is the Championship's biggest WTF moment ever? The Championship has always had some wild moments, hasn't it? What's the one moment that stands out for you?
My mind keeps going back to the Leicester Cardiff playoff semi-final, the penalty shootout. I think it was in 2011. Martin Waghorn misses a penalty for Leicester, so it comes down to Jan Kermorgant, who is a good striker at Championship level. But Jan Kermigan decides the vital penalty. He tries a Panenka, Ryan. He tries a Panenka and he doesn't pull it
Not
off.
even a good Panenka.
Exactly. A terrible Panenka, which David Marshall saves with absolute ease in the Cardiff goal, sending Cardiff to the final.
If it was a good Panenka, I think Leicester fans may have had a bit more sympathy. Maybe not. But they probably wouldn't have given him as much stick as that. But for the rest of his career, he's just been known as Jan Kermigan, who did the Panenka in Leicester's most important game in many years. And he's had a decent career since then, but that's just going to dog him for the rest of his life, isn't it? My biggest moment, and it's weird because I was watching it the other day, is the ghost goal in Watford v Reading from numerous years ago. Stuart Atwell was the referee, and to this day, you could watch the moment back, and the ball goes nowhere near the goal, but the referee just decides to give a goal. It's as simple as that. There isn't much more you can say about it. It is the most bizarre thing, or definitely one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen on a football pitch. At championship level, it's got to be the biggest WTF moment because I still, to this day, I can't figure out what any of the officials was thinking because none of the players are celebrating, but they decide, yeah, goal. Back to the halfway line, lads. Quickly, Justin, what are your memories of it?
Yeah, it's so weird. The fact that we're struggling for words to describe the moment as to what was going through the referee or the officials' minds. Exactly. It's just like literally what WTF? What the? Yeah. It's completely bonkers, and it's something that will never happen again because of goal line technology. And thankfully, I cannot imagine being a fan in the ground at that point. It's just
so confused about what has just happened in front of you every eyes. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 21 of the Stopwatch. The Stopwatch is now old enough to drive in America. Congratulations to the Stopwatch. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, especially what you think is the biggest WTF moment. I imagine everyone has seen one at some point in their championship spectating career. Also, drop us a like if you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe for more content like this. Remember the Second Tier Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Second Tier Pod. Justin Peach 27, Ryan Dilks 1, and thank you for watching. I'd just like to apologise and point out that it's actually old enough to drink in America. I don't know why I thought drive. I'm clearly not American.